Alright, so how many of you are parents and or want to be parents whenever you get older? Well, having a child comes with a lot of responsibilities, and one of the major responsibilities is their education. Because when a child gets, starting from their young age, whenever they're born, a child begins to learn and comprehend what's going on around them. And so as they're progressing through life and as they're growing older, education becomes a crucial part of their life to get them further in where they want to be.
Parental involvement is the key to your child's success in school. Mrs. Charles Smith, president of Youth Enjoyment, whether it's volunteering in school, communicating with teachers on a regular basis, or helping with homework, we know that parental involvement is crucial and important. So get involved. Working together, parents and educators can make this a great year for every student in Missouri. A message from
Okay.
Missouri, Indiana.
So this was just a video for a school in Missouri. It's showing basically how parental involvement in education can help the child get further on and help them get where they want to in life. Whereas, not having any time with their child afterwards can get to their child to where they believe that education isn't important and where their school isn't, something they should focus on. On the CDC specifically, there's a link and a spot you can go to where it tells you like parental tips based on age, so from infants to toddlers to school age to teenagers, all the way through. It can give you tips and things you can go through to help your child and be there for your child so they can perform academically better overall. And whenever you're in your infancy, that's your start of learning. So parents will work more with their child to get through their daily living habits that they need. So like go to the bathroom, walk, talk, speak, all that. But then whenever they hit their toddler ages and those types of where they're moving from growing up and going to school, starting school, they'll be focusing more on what their parents are doing, what's going on around them. And since they're with their parents most of the time, their parent, how they act and how they behave around their child will have a big influence in what they perceive to be right and wrong in education and how they perceive their education to come out in the end. Once they hit school, of course, they'll have everything they've learned from their parents overall, and it'll start to show more while they're in school because they'll want to take on more tasks and they'll want to push themselves further, given that their parents have been there and pushed them to do further and more in school. Michael A. DiDono performed a research actually, and this correlates with it, where it shows that parent inclusion had a greater benefit for academic performance, whereas parents that don't include their kids in anything, don't have any events or sports or anything with their kids, doesn't have as much of an impact. This stat right here shows that most parents will attend the general things like the general meeting, the scheduled meeting with teachers, the things they have to, but then towards over here where it's like volunteer and community service, where you have to go in and the parent has to go out there on their own, it's not required. That's not as big of a thing that happens, whereas if they have to be there, most of them will show up. And if more parents would go out and do more things, like show their kids that this is what they need to do, and like teach them in their environments that this is how to grow up, education is important, it'll help their child go through and want to pursue more in their educational field, and overall help them improve their lives. On the government educational website, ed.gov, there's an article that shows that parent involvement is crucial, which begins to show that the more a parent becomes involved, the more parents there, then the higher the academic performance is, and the more willing a child is to perform in school, as opposed to if a parent isn't there. Which led me to my ultimate conclusion that parent involvement is important. That it will drive, or it'll make or break how the student performs in education. It'll determine whether they want to pursue something they really feel interested in, they're really wanting to push themselves to be the best they can, or if they want to lay back and do other things that aren't educational or have educational purposes. And this led me to my ultimate solution, which is to pass laws or bills or something higher up that provides parents with the time that they need, because many parents have a lot of work and they're busy all the time and don't have time to come and help their children out, or to provide them financially what they can do and what they can have to help their children, so that they're able to provide for their children, so their children can go through and see that education is a way to go, and it'll help them want to work more and push that drive further in their educational field. So that not only is the parent's future at stake, but also the child's future as well. So whenever they get through that education, that's their future, and then the parents that are still there, it also has their future going on as well.